Larry Leventhal, we're at the Honor the Earth powwow, and we're thinking about treaty rights. We're thinking about the teaching that you gave to the Tribble brothers back in the 70s about the 37, 42, and 54 treaties. When they were arrested by the state game warden, they produced the treaties. And this, of course, went up through the federal court system, and eventually Mille Lacs versus Minnesota, 5-4, treaty rights were affirmed. What are the fruits of the treaty rights movement?
Well, the fruits of the treaty rights movement is a renewal of respect for treaties. The treaties have always been the law. They're part of the supreme law of the land. And the treaties that you mentioned in 1837, 42, and 54 specifically referred to the rights of hunting and harvesting and fishing as being tribal rights, and allowed that those rights and other usages of the lands would be guaranteed to the Ojibwa people. So when the Tribble brothers felt that they wished to challenge the oppression that was going on by state officials, they of course had the weapons to do so. We had actually studied these. I was teaching a class at the time at St. Scholastica, as you were kind enough to reflect upon, and we had a courtroom exercise in the classroom where we had people on both sides, and we laid out the treaties and other laws and other cases, and the position was set up so that the treaties would be looked to and would be argued, and indeed they were. And both Mike Tribble and his brother said, "Hey, Fred Tribble, can we use these in court?" And said, "Well, you should be able to. Here's what they say." And they looked at it, and next thing I heard, they had been arrested and wanted some more information. But the cases were, of course, ultimately successful.
George Meyer from the DNR said back in '88 that spearfishing would never occur in the ceded territory. When I talked to George in an interview last week, he said that the walleye in the ceded territory are some of the best cared for and studied fish in North America. What are the impacts of this co-management on fish, game, and plants and water in the ceded territory?
We got a much larger universe of expertise for those management questions, because indeed the state and the tribes negotiate with each other each year and bring in their respective experts, their expertise, and traditional ways are honored and discussed. Some lands are set aside, some waters set aside for exclusive tribal usage or primary tribal usage. And the myth that the state coming from on high can dictate with expertise and that everybody should fall into place has been shattered. And indeed, people such as Mr. Meyer acknowledge the current regime is better, and that includes the sovereignties of the tribe, not just of the state.
As the grandfathers looked after us 7 generations ago, how should we be looking towards the future?
There'll be 7 generations yet to come, and more after that. If the resources are used up now, there'll be faith that would be broken with the future generations. Therefore, the management that has been taking place is not based upon depletion and quick usage. It's based upon preservation for the future. And that's been the approach of the tribes to the management issues. And the state has purported to have those goals, but really they did not give them the priority they deserved. And I think that that's shifted.
One more question. Walt Brezett used to talk about why are we fighting over mercury-contaminated fish. The coal-fired plants are kind of a scourge upon the health of the fishery. Is it possible that the tribes could mount a defense against coal-fired generating plants?
Well, certainly it is, and I think that's been successful in part as far as curbing new plants, curbing expansion of plants, not so much in curbing existing plants, but the reason that fish are being studied, whether it be mercury or whether it be other contaminants, is it's known they're contaminants. And I think that that is more appreciated by the general public.
Larry, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, it's been a milestone coming up with Glyphwick, of course, this year, for 25 years, that the group that has pretty much coordinated the Indian research and involvement in the larger sphere regarding natural resources in Wisconsin has been in operation, and that's a worthy celebration.
This is Nick Vanderpine and Larry Leventhal for Indian Country TV.